your most recent book is focused on this connection between power and money, and the epic clashes between commanders in chief and titans of industry. And you make the point here in the description. 88 American business leaders have written a letter endorsing Kamala Harris for president. We've seen a lot of Hollywood celebrities come out recently. And on the other side, we have Elon Musk committing ungodly sums of money to the Trump campaign, and just recently was out in full force with him in Butler, Pennsylvania, and actually was campaigning for him. So let's talk about the subject of the most recent book. What led you to this topic? I know you're very steeped in U.S. history and in presidential history in particular, but what led you to this particular topic?
I have this advantage in that I'm academically trained, so I know how to dig into archives and write works of history, but I also served in the White House, so I can understand the White House from the inside, but also from the outside an academic perspective. And so I have written this series of books on presidents and blank. And the blank is always something that nobody's covered before, but also something that speaks to our current moment. And I thought this
Mhm.
idea of presidents and CEOs, presidents and big corporations, really is applicable to our current moment where you have both Democrats and Republicans seem to dislike CEOs and corporations these days. But also, CEOs are more important than ever. They are at the top of American life in terms of they're the best known people, they're the richest people. And you think it looks like we're about the same age. If you think about back in the 70s or 80s, everybody knew who the characters on Happy Days were. Now there's no TV
Right,
that unites everybody. But
right.
everybody knows who Elon Musk is. Everybody knows who Mark Zuckerberg is. And so the CEOs are the
Hmm.
rare characters in society that are universally known. And so
Hmm.
there's a focus on them that didn't exist beforehand. In fact, I have got this appendix in the book where I talk about jokes told by and about CEOs. They're only funny if everybody knows who you are. You can't tell a joke about some obscure TV show that nobody watches because it's not universally known. The CEOs are universally known.
Yeah, talk about the situation with Republicans and Democrats. Correct me if this is wrong, but my impression has long been that the Republicans had this reputation for being the party that was connected to big corporate America, and that the Democrats sort of cultivated the idea, perhaps mythologically, that they were the party of the working class, of the unions, of the downtrodden. That seems to have shifted seismically since, let's say, Barack Obama came along. Do you think that's true, or is that just perception? In other words, is Trump now sort of the leader who represents the everyman, and the Democrats are sort of the corporate America party, or is that really just smoke and mirrors?
No, there's been a real change in our lifetimes, Leighton. I mean, when I was serving in the George W. Bush administration, if you talked about a college educated suburban couple, you would assume that they were both Republicans because that's just the way it was. Today, if you tell me there's a college educated suburban couple and you ask me how they vote, they're probably going to vote Democrat. And the
Mm.
corporations have kind of gone along with that. The kind of the mainstream thinking or the conventional wisdom is much more Democrat today, and the common man is increasingly disenchanted with the Democratic Party. They don't want to hear about this woke stuff or DEI or ESG. Those are all things that actually harm them rather than help them. And
Hmm.
so we really have seen this sea change in our lifetime that the Democrats used to be the party of the working man or the person who didn't go to college. And now they're the highly educated are Democrats, college educated and graduate school alike.
Hmm. Uh, Not long after the first, and we have to qualify this, the first assassination attempt on President Trump, former President Trump, Elon Musk hosted an event on his platform X that was, I believe, now has been listened to by in the billions of people. You wrote a piece back in August entitled "Will Elon Musk's Infatuation with Trump Backfire?" And you say history says yes. Why does history say that?
Well, I talk about some examples from my book, particularly Henry Luce, who was a strong proponent of Eisenhower and backed
Hmm.
Eisenhower with his magazine, Time Magazine. And Eisenhower did win, so he got what he wanted. But at the same time, it hurt the reputation of Time Magazine because it began to be seen as just a shill for the Republicans. And there was even a joke that went around that Time Magazine is very even handed. half the time it praises the Republicans, the other half it bashes the Democrats. And so Time suffered this loss of reputation that it never really fully recovered after that. So even so, Musk is making a dangerous bet. If Harris wins, then he's potentially liable to selective enforcement, which is where the government says, well, you violated this environmental regulation, this labor regulation, we're going to go after you. But even if Trump wins, if people say, boy, I don't like that Trump, and I'm not going to go on Musk's platform X, or I'm not going to buy his Tesla cars, then it could hurt Musk, even if he gets what he wants in terms of Trump winning.
Hmm. And, and I don't want you I don't want you to engage in conjecture, but I struggle with why Elon Musk has such an interest in Donald Trump becoming president. Trump has talked about making Elon some sort of efficiency expert within the government. That would be fascinating, even if it meant that government employees all drove electric vehicles. But why do you suppose that Elon Musk is so much allied with and, as you say, infatuated by Donald Trump?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one is the Biden administration has not treated him well. There have been a number of enforcement actions against Musk and his companies. The Harris administration would probably be worse for him, so he sees that as a problem. The Biden administration had an electric car summit at the White House and didn't even see fit to invite him, called GM the leader in electric cars, which is just factually not true. So they're not the Biden administration is not being kind to Musk. And then you have this other issue is that he's opposed to what he calls the woke mind virus. He has a son who became transgender, and he feels like he lost his son because of the wokeism and transgenderism. And so he's increasingly uncomfortable with the left wing point of view. The interesting thing is that Musk is someone who's never before voted for a Republican. In 2012, he voted for Obama. In
Right.
2016, he voted for Hillary. In 2020, he voted for Biden. But he's now turned hard. And so I
Mhm.
think those reasons are part of it. And then also, I think he's not unaware of the history that it's dangerous to back one side. But as he said in his Saturday Night Live appearance, he said, I reinvented the electric car and I'm sending rockets into space. Did you think I was going to be a normal, chill dude? He just does things differently. He's willing to take a
Mhm.
risk that other CEOs might not be willing to take.
Hmm. This book that you've just written, which is called "The Power and the Money: The Epic Clashes Between Commanders in Chief and Titans of Industry," is on something of a controversial topic. How has it been received by people sort of in your circle, having worked in government, kind of worked in that space, worked in the president's office at a high level? Has it been positive, or have some people sort of raised their eyebrows at you?
It's a good question. I mean, the reviews have been overwhelmingly positive. But yeah, I mean, there are some people on the right who say, well, wait a minute, aren't you criticizing Republicans? And I say, yeah, sometimes I am, because this getting into bed with corporations and building the regulatory state is something that's on both parties. So I criticize Democrats, I criticize Republicans. What I would like to see is a smaller regulatory environment, a smaller regulatory state, and a state that promotes innovation and growth and lets small players get involved. I'm not pro business, I'm pro economic growth, I'm pro market. And I think there's a real distinction to be made there.
Hmm. Hmm. So, is it fair to say that in some ways the book is a cautionary tale, saying, "Look, we've got to change some of this. Perhaps it's gone too far one way, and we need to have something of a correction if we're going to preserve sort of the American brand of liberty and prosperity, and really provide for people the opportunity to live out the American dream." I mean, you want people to pursue the dream of becoming a Mark Zuckerberg or an Elon Musk or a Jeff Bezos, right?
Yeah, I would say in many ways it's a cautionary tale because I do think that there's too much regulation, there's too much entanglement between big business and big government, and we are killing the ability of small entrepreneurs and innovators to make it. And if they don't make it in America, if we're not going to have an environment that allows small companies to innovate and create the next great thing, it's not going to happen in Greece. It's not going to happen in the Arab world. It's not going to happen in the Soviet world or the Russian world or in the Chinese security state. So America is the place where it's got to happen, and we have to let it happen.
If we're framing your book in terms of, let's say, someone in America making a choice about their next president, um, and they're looking at the Trump slate and looking at the Harris slate, does either of them offer a choice that is consistent with what you are advocating for in the book? Or are both the Republican Party and the Democrats in their own way really perpetuating the problems that are you're identifying and discussing in the book?
Well, I mean, I have a bunch of policy prescriptions that would include free trade, more legal immigration, strict rules against illegal immigration, a pro growth agenda, lower taxes, fewer regulations. And I would say Harris is for none of those, and Trump is for some of those. But neither candidate is perfect from my perspective in terms of what I'm trying to accomplish. I mean, we need growth if we're going to get out of this $35 trillion debt we have. The other options are really unpleasant ones, which are reducing the value of our currency, which we don't want to do, selling off national treasures like our parks, or severely curtailing the spending that we're going to do in terms of transfer programs, but income security programs like Social Security and Medicare, people don't want to do that, or massively hiking taxes. None of those are pleasant options. The only real option is to grow out of this, and we need to let the economy grow and innovate and have fewer regulations and say, let's let the private sector solve this problem for us. And I have a lot of examples in the book of CEOs who came and helped the government get through severe economic crises. And I fear that the debt is a potentially severe economic crisis of the future, and we're not spending enough time thinking about it.
Mhm. So I want to thank you so much for being our special guest here today and for sharing some insights into your books and your writings. We wish you much continued success with the most recent book and all of your future endeavors.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate this very thoughtful interview. And let me just say, Jews and Christians alike all yearn for the Messiah, but we also know that it's within ourselves. We have the power to make a better world, and we can do better things while we are here on this on this sphere. And we should make it our best effort to do the best we can with the world we have, even as we yearn for something greater.
Amen. Thank you.